Hey everyone, welcome to Invisible Walls, episode 234, right here on GameTrailers.com. We are recording the show early this week. This is our annual Turkey Day, Thanksgiving Day episode. It is going to be a little shorter than usual, but we record this on Monday to get it done by Wednesday so you guys have something to watch over the holiday. Speaking of which, hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving. Hopefully you're all able to go home and see your family and you all travel safe. So we do have a short show today, but some pretty big topics. We're going to talk about Hitman Absolution. Our review's definitely been drawing a little bit of attention, and we'll get to that in a little bit. We're going to talk about the Wii U launch and all the subsequent issues that the system's kind of been having. We just really got them yesterday. Got the update yesterday. We'll get into that. And then we're going to go through our usual turkeys and our thanks for 2012. That's always fun. So make sure you stick around for that. Today on the show we have Ryan Stevens, editorial director.
Yo.
Mike Damiani. Have you slept after getting your Wii U, Mike Damiani?
Oh yeah, I went to sleep.
Oh yeah.
I don't think this is probably the first Nintendo. Oh, maybe the 3DS, but I mean the first console there wasn't something at launch where I was like playing it nonstop. I mean, I just like got Mario, played it for a little bit. I was like, it'll be there tomorrow. I don't need to like play through tonight. Like
Yeah.
that desire's not there anymore.
And of course, Marcus Beer.
Gobble, gobble.
All right, so first we're going to talk about the Wii U. Boy, the launch events here were pretty pathetic because it was pouring rain.
Did you find the
did
super
you-
fan?
I got in my car, drove to the Target where I met the Wii Superfan the first time, and there were like 7 people outside the Target, like miserable in the rain, freezing, shivering, and he was not there. So, Thomas Falsetta, I don't know if I'll ever see you ever again.
Please call.
There have been many places doing a midnight launch. Like,
Well, the place that Ryan and I got ours, they did not do one. We had to wait until Sunday morning to get our units. And here's the funny thing. They called me Sunday at like 1 o'clock. And they're like, yeah, we have your Wii U here. And I had paid for my unit in full, paid off, period.
Yeah.
And they're like, when are you coming to get it? And I was like, I don't know. Like, we've had them for a week and a half. I didn't need mine right away. And I was like, I don't know. Like, I'm watching football today. Like, maybe I'll come and get it tomorrow. They're like, oh, no, you can't do that. And I was like, what are you talking about? And they're like, well, if you have 24 hours to pick this up or we give it to somebody else. And I was like, but I paid in full.
That doesn't make sense.
I'm like, why would you do that? I'm like, what are you accomplishing by giving my system that I paid for?
They've already got,
They got
your money.
they
Don't
want
give
more
a shit.
money.
It makes no sense.
They've
But
already-
then they'd have to go through the hassle of refunding me my money.
Oh no, they won't. They won't refund your money. What they'll turn around and then say is, well, you can have one of the next ones that come through because they've got your money. They don't give a shit. This is corporate America at its
That was
finest.
garbage, by the
was
way.
very
And by the way, that was GameStop. So
Yeah, I heard that if you had just put money down, like you hadn't paid it off, the rumor was you had 48 hours to pick it up.
I understand that. I get that.
But you
Because
paid it
you're
off.
taking money out of their till at that point. But I paid for the whole thing when I put my pre-order down. The first day the pre-orders went on sale, and they're like, oh, you better be here in 24 hours.
Yeah, that seems like a little bit of a kind of a
Maybe it was in the
crappy thing
small
to do.
print.
Yeah, I don't know. But
I got to say,
Did
I
you
had
read
a
the
lot of
terms
fun
of service?
watching Twitter on Saturday night with obviously the East Coasters having got theirs and everything going online and seeing which people had got access to it early, and then it started to get a little ugly.
well, then everyone realized they had to update their console with a 5 gig update
How big's the
on
hard drive?
day one. Yeah, so you have, on the base model, you have an 8 gig hard drive. And as soon as you take that thing home, open it up, and connect it, you're filling up 5 of your 8 gigs with an update.
Does that fill up your hard drive, or is it just
No.
absorbed
My hard
into
drive is now 25 gigs, and it started as 32 gigs. So I've lost 7 gigs off my 32 gig hard drive already.
I looked at my internal, and I have the 25 gig internal, and I think right now it says I have like 4 filled up after doing the update. So I don't.
There's probably some overhead already, and they're not going to give you the full 32.
internal 1 gig is probably. I don't know if they're using some of that.
With the OS, it looks like it was 2 gigs, and then the update was 4 to 5
It
gigs. So
took
you've
forever
already
to
lost
download the
7,
update,
almost
that's
7
for
gigs.
sure.
I waited forever. That's why I walked in the GameStop to pick it up late. I did the update in the afternoon. My roommate picked up his Wii in the morning, and he was bitching the whole day about the update taking forever. He's like, it's going to take 30 minutes for you to see the bar move. I'm like, okay. So I put it on there. The good thing I could like watch the progress while doing other stuff on my TV.
Right, because you could see it on the gamepad. That's what I did. I watched football and kept looking at the little meter on the gamepad.
I have you guys beat because I was here at GT on Saturday when the update went actually live, and it just kept failing. Fortunately, it would pick up, but yeah, it took fucking forever, and I was hardwired.
Me too.
We have like
hardwired. It probably took 2.5 hours.
We have like a T3 connection here too, and it didn't make a fucking difference.
I have got all of you beat because while you were all doing that, I was having steak and eggs for brunch with unlimited beers. So that was my morning. So yeah,
you did have us beat.
I won.
Fuck you.
But I mean, I think errors are kind of just like the prevalent like subject of the system over the weekend. Like, I mean, yeah, everyone's rushing to get a like supposedly 5 gig update. My story was the update went fine for me. It only took maybe an hour at most.
Wow.
I mean, it didn't seem like I was like I think people are just maybe exaggerating, or maybe I picked the right time to get in that window. But me, it was the system transfer. The whole Wii to Wii U thing.
Which I have to commend Nintendo for because they actually made it kind of fun. Like, they created, like, cinemas showing, like, the Pikmin picking up your data from your Wii and, like, taking it over to your...
I haven't done it yet.
They showed that on the menu, but, like, I kept
it took forever.
The one part, I kept getting the part where you'd prepared your SD card on the Wii U, you go back to your Wii, you plug it in, it reads that data, then it starts to check it goes starting to download something from the internet, and I get there and it gives me a problem. I couldn't get past that.
Oh.
And...
Well, the whole process is, like, first of all, I mean... My system didn't automatically tell me it needed to be updated. When I took it out of the box and plugged it in and had it plugged hardwired, when it booted up, it didn't say you need a system update. Like I did when you did it manually. I don't know why that was for me.
Mine did that when I plugged it in. Like during the whole setup process, when I did the internet connections, like, would you like to do the like update now? I was like, oh, okay. And
yeah, it asks every time you change your internet connection. It asks if you want to update.
Yeah, so that's when I did it for mine. But I mean, I did mine later in the day.
But then the Wii transfer stuff, one, it doesn't even tell you it can do it. Like if you dig around, you can find it in the menus. And then once you figure out you can do it, figuring out how to do it is like. It's way too archaic. Like, it should just boot up, be like, do you want to transfer your Wii information? Do you want to set up your internet connection? Do you want to update the system?
I just don't understand why they're both wireless, why they couldn't communicate with each other directly, the systems. So, I mean, I have a one TV, and I had both my systems hooked up. So I'm going between the inputs back and forth and the internet to, like, look up people's, like, tips for stuff. And it took a while to do that. And then, like, I was trying to, like, I was worried. Like, I kept hearing... The warning tells you once it's transferred over, you can't transfer stuff back. Now, I mean,
it wipes everything off of your Wii.
For certain Wii saves, you can still transfer them back and forth because it's not locked. But like, it's those saves with online data, like Brawl, like Mario Kart. Those saves that you put a lot of time into that you can't transfer. Once those go to Wii U, you can't bring them back. So I was like, crap. Like, do I really want to do this? Do I want to lose those saves on that? And
what I didn't like too is that like they didn't unify the Wii with the Wii U. It's like a channel on the Wii U, and it goes into this whole other like operating system for the Wii.
It goes into the
so all the points that you had on the Nintendo Store for the Wii, it doesn't bring those over into the eShop, like the monetary value. Like, you stay in that Wii environment. So if you want to download, like, you can't just play all your Virtual Console games. You got to go into that stupid Wii channel. Like, it just seems like the whole thing was just kind of hacked together. It works.
Did anyone download anything off the store? I got Little Inferno.
I haven't downloaded anything
I
yet.
didn't download
I couldn't figure out a way to monitor your downloads. It's just all of a sudden, it was like, oh, it's there. I was like, okay. It's a little annoying because I wanted to see how fast it was actually downloading things.
I think the most discouraging thing for me is that I got my
Little Inferno is weird, by the way.
Around like 4 o'clock, came back, and basically just went straight at it, trying to update, transfer Wii stuff over. Probably got done really getting everything set up and got comfortable with the system around like 11 or 12 that night. And then I looked at it and I'm like, now what do I do with this thing?
Well, you already played a shit ton of Nintendo Land.
I played Nintendo Land, I've played a good bit of Mario, I played a little bit of Zombie U, and I'm like, I'm not really all that motivated to play any of this stuff. I've already played all the great ports. I mean, there are good ports on the system, but I've already played all those.
I was the opposite. I was lucky with the reviews we drew. I didn't have to do any of the Wii U ones. So I mean, I played a little bit of New Super Mario's Wii U with Justin a few times. But as soon as like I took an hour to do the system update, I took like an hour to fumble through the Wii U transfer stuff, and I just gave up on that. And I started to play the games, and I was messing with the Miiverse stuff, setting up my account, and I mean, I'd seen the videos and stuff, but actually like using that, I wasn't actually posting much, but seeing it in action, was like, this might get really addicting. It's like their own. It is when you think of somebody making their own version of Facebook. Just use Facebook, but this like game-centric version of it that has like you could follow people. So like
You basically
thank
follow
God you
games
can-
as like groups.
and you could
Yeah.
add people as friends. Like it's not.
When all the journalists got on Saturday, everyone was just trying to spam all those groups and try to like kind of own them. It was kind of funny. So all the really early posts, people were just drawing the little pictures and whatnot. But they already have thousands of posts.
Yeah,
on
they
those
have posts
channels.
and stuff, and like it's. I like that you can do that. I can't wait till they add video. I hope they add video support. That's what's gonna draw a ton of people. Like I'm gonna show you how to beat this level. Here's like a video embed.
Here's a video.
Well,
of
we
me
finally
drawing
figured
a
out how
penis.
friends lists are going to work, which
It's-
I can't believe we didn't know how the hell they were going to work until the day I booted up Miiverse on my system I bought. But it's basically just
Yeah.
like everything else.
It's fine.
You have I have a gamer tag now on Nintendo
Yeah,
Network,
and it's
which-
unique. You can't. People can have the same ones.
And it
so-
works pretty much like everybody else's. Like you have to share your names, but it's a hell of a lot better than some like 13-digit number or whatever. It's like I can just tell you my name, and now you can add me. So actually, Miiverse, in my first night fiddling around with it, pretty cool.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it has a 100-person limit again. I guess
Yeah.
that's there, but you have 1,000 followers.
Right.
So
And instead of liking things, what
you-
things? Is
yeah
that-
things or something like that. I would say the only thing maybe they can work out, like when I was playing New Super Mario Brothers, I wanted to do like. I was wondering if you could use the gamepad playing solo to go to Miiverse, access it while the game was still on,
Right.
but it exits you out completely to Miiverse. So
Oh.
you got to like take a screenshot by like pushing the home menu. Maybe they can refine that a little bit, but for what it's there, I like how it's focused on a game. Maybe there'd be better ways to start. I haven't really messed. Maybe there's ways to filter by subject or something, making more like message board structure instead of like a Facebook timeline structure. But there's a lot of good potential there to do something that hasn't necessarily been done on the other systems that could be its own.
They did find a
Yeah.
unique way to kind of tackle the whole thing, which I commend them for.
Your idea for multitasking just reminded me really quick, now that we can say whatever the fuck we want.
Yeah.
The load times on this system are really, really shitty.
Well, we did our
Yeah.
GT Live on Friday, and man, it was, you're doing a live broadcast, you're trying to jump around and show people stuff, and you go from like an application and try to go back to the system OS,
Yeah.
and we were just sitting there.
I was hoping
and
that
sitting there, and we were
patch
hoping
was
the
gonna
update
alleviate
would
that,
fix
yeah.
it. It didn't change anything really.
Yeah, the time for that, maybe it'll get better. It is like it takes a long time, but it finally hit me. I mean, we knew this was coming, but actually being able to, in the sense of multitasking, I can look at stuff on my TV that's not the game system. I can be on the internet, do whatever the heck I want. Like I was like,
Internet browser works great, by the way, and works awesome with GT. Just make sure you hit the download button underneath the player, and it'll blow out full screen. Looks absolutely incredible. So
you're just playing with that gamepad portably, and then like having other shit going on in the TV and stuff. I was like,
It's kinda
You know
cool.
what? I don't have to have a laptop out. I don't own an iPad or anything like that. So I used to do the laptop and that, and it was a little bit cumbersome having all that shit. It's so nice to have that small thing
Yeah.
and do that. Like, I think that they won me over on that. Now let's see some
That's what I was saying
let's see
before
some
it
really
came
good
out.
games. Now let's see some
Yeah.
really good games. You got there's some hiccups there. Not the greatest thing, but there's a lot of potential there. Now show me it. Like realize that potential.
yeah.
Favorite game so far?
I've only played Mario, so that's a little.
Okay.
Nah.
Ryan?
I haven't put enough time into anything except for Zombie U, so it's hard for me to say. I played a little bit of Nintendo Land, but I really think you want to play that more with other people than solo.
Mario's the best launch game, unless you've only owned a Wii. I mean, it's pretty clear cut. If you did own a Wii, then you're looking at stuff like Assassin's Creed 3 or Black Ops or whatever. I mean, truth be told, the launch lineup's pretty good. What's available there on day one, but because I've owned these other consoles, it kind of mutes it a little bit. I mean,
I want to check out Scribblenauts, though.
yeah, I think that has a shot. We actually haven't reviewed that yet, but of what I've played, Mario's the best game. Nintendo Land's fun to screw around with. It's not going to last you very long. And then Zombie U, I think, was pretty...
It's going to find its audience, but it's definitely, like, for a lot of people, they're going to be pretty disappointed, I think.
I think it makes me wonder, too, if, everyone cries for Resident Evil to go back to survival horror. Well, if Zombie U is what that would ultimately become, then I'm happy with the direction it's going now, I'll say that much. I mean, that really is what it is, a survival horror. So, happy you bought it. You haven't got it yet, Marcus?
And I'm actually kind of happy that, I mean, I'm disappointed. Yeah, it was like watching all my friends at a relatively cool party for the first couple of hours, and then everything started.
Then
to
you realize
break.
everybody got drunk and had to go home, and you're like, I'm glad I didn't go.
Because I was drinking at home. So, but look, do I still want to get my hands on it? Yes, I want to play Super Mario Brothers. I've actually got half a dozen Wii U games that have been sent to me that are sitting at home, like Scribblenauts and Batman Armored Condom version and
Frame Rate City.
Frame Rate City. Is that what it's called? Okay.
Mike, you glad you got one?
Yeah, I feel like I needed to buy it. It was only because I thought it would sell out.
Yeah.
I'm happy with it now. Ask me in a month when we might not see another game and maybe this novelty's worn off. I might feel a little bit different. Right now, I feel like there's enough to hold me over for like the next week or two, and I'm not regretting my decision, but that might just be short term right there.
Ryan?
I just want to, Pikmin's coming.
I
Pikmin's
know.
coming. Pikmin's coming.
Games
Pikmin's
are
coming.
coming.
It's not the strongest launch. I mean,
Yeah.
Nintendo usually sneaks one game in there, and Mario's cool, but it is maybe a little not enough of a.
Well, we just got a
an
2D Mario
update.
like a month ago.
Yeah, or
Doesn't
even from
help.
the Wii one. So
Right. And I would say, after tax and everything, it was like $380, and right now I'm saying it probably wasn't worth it. If it does end up being a case where there are shortages for the next 6 months or a year like it was with the Wii, I'll be glad that I bought it because I don't have to deal with all the crap of like trying to find one.
Yeah.
But if that's not the case, then I really see no reason for me to have bought this thing now, especially for people who've been playing a lot of other consoles. Like I said, last night at midnight, after I've played those like 3 or 4 big games, and I'm like, now what? And I agree, the extra screen is way cooler than I ever thought. But is it worth $400 right now?
Smart glass.
Honestly,
In my opinion, no.
If there's no shortage of it, you should wait till like at least spring of next year when the next wave of games come out. Even then, but yeah, I was in the same boat. I just did not want to be caught, having
Flat-footed,
like
basically.
a killer game comes out like in May of next year and they're like impossible to find. It's like
And we need
shit,
it for our jobs as well.
Yeah, if
so-
I didn't have the money to buy it and like it was like a tough call, I would have erred on like, no, I'm not getting this. I'll wait, till I have it. But I mean, that was another factor. But yeah, I can see how a lot of people are probably like, this is
I'll be glad
the must
that I
buy.
have it when Pikmin comes out, just like Ryan.
Some kind of...
All right, so next we're going to talk about a game that I had very, very high hopes for. Now that we've actually had a chance to play it, I don't even know if I'm going to play it. That game is Hitman Absolution. Miguel is here. He reviewed the game. What were your biggest what upset you the most about this game, Miguel?
Oh, let me put it this way. I was disappointed by it, and it was mainly because when you play a stealth game, like there's kind of the thing that happens when you're being stealthy. That is supposed to be satisfying. That is supposed to have like a bunch of cool sort of mechanics to let you sort of do that thing. But I also think that there is something that happens when you get caught. There should be like a sort of contingency of good gameplay that happens
Right.
when you're sort of like exposed and under fire. And I don't think Hitman does that very well. That was my biggest thing about it. And it's mainly due to like, kind of AI that you're more encouraged to kind of treat like a joke as opposed to like, engage it as an actual force in the game.
Well, one thing I'll say is that, one, we had tons of time to review this game. I feel like
Sure.
you've been reviewing it for the last month or something like that.
We had a bit.
And generally how things play out here is people play games in the back for review, and I mean, I know me personally, I don't have a ton of time to walk by and see what you guys are playing, but this game in particular, there'd always be crowds around watching it, and it wasn't the good, like, that game is awesome crowd. It was, let's see how busted this game is crowd.
Yeah.
Miguel's playing softball with bricks at
Yeah.
people's heads.
Yeah, I mean, there's all this. That was one of the sinking moments where it's like, okay, this is kind of like a weird kind of playground that doesn't quite make sense. There are Hitman fans in this office that
in this
were
room.
kind of
They're shooting the show right now.
I'm looking at Chris right now, who was kind of in denial about like the stuff that he was seeing me, seeing go down when I was playing it. But even he, I think, eventually came to kind of see that, a lot of the stuff that you expect from a game that asks you to take it seriously is just like not really working here.
Well, it's pretty easy to see when after 3 or 4 weeks, it's day after day after day of walking up, watching you play, and just see something happen that just doesn't make sense in the framework of what the game is, not even what it's supposed to be, but what it is.
Sure.
basically those are game-breaking bugs.
It's like a new realm of the uncanny valley,
Can
right?
I interject? So I started playing at 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon, box copy, and I played it till about 1 this morning. And I got to say, while having watched Miguel's review and seen the footage, there's some stuff in there that looks janky. I personally haven't experienced any of that. With regards to the janky AI or whatever, there are issues that come up with the game with regards to, I mean, obviously I think the story is all over the fucking shop. If it's called Absolution, and
Irony.
he is going off to save whoever he needs to save, and there are certain things that they stick to so rigidly. It's like, all right, well, we've got our framework. Let's write a story and just mash them together. It doesn't look like they've created a story to fit into the Hitman. It's just wedged in there. I'll give you an example. There is and I'm not going to spoil it, but there is a section where a bunch of very nasty men have done a bunch of very nasty things, and they're all looking for 47, and they are carrying guns, and they have killed a lot of innocent people. As far as I'm concerned, they're fucking targets now.
They're fair game,
especially
yeah.
if 47 has sort of like renounced certain things and is now trying to defend somebody. Well, you know what? He's going to kill every motherfucker in the way and not worry about it.
Right, and you're saying that because the game penalizes you for killing those guys just as they would for killing like an innocent butcher or a grease monkey.
And that to me, it just shows a lack of flexibility. And I know a lot of the Hitman fans will say, well, that's the way it is. And I'm always, for example, I'm always, criticizing Resident Evil for not, for evolving in a different direction that I'm not happy with. But I think Hitman, perhaps with this one, they perhaps could have made it a little more loose and a little more, evaluate on the fly.
Right. Well, the thing, this brings up a good point, right? Like this game is kind of, it seems like it was designed for you to kind of get it right the first time, like
Which is not what most people want from this game, because a lot of the promotional videos for this game showed you you can do whatever you want. You can go into this world, here's your tools to play with,
You
now
can go your
build
own way.
yourself an awesome experience, essentially.
Right. Yeah, and like the trial and error stuff for a game like this, I think is totally fine. But again, my problem is that once you reach, once you try to do one thing and it doesn't work out, it just becomes like this kind of unfun clusterfuck where you're.
It's like a snowball effect.
Yeah, you're playing like a not very good shooter with sort of like.
But that was what I was talking to you about before we came on the show. Is maybe you're doing everything exactly the way the developers planned on you doing it, and maybe after you play it more and you start getting a little more experimental.
I don't think I've ever done that in my life. I mean, but
you're far enough to have played a few of the levels that kind of like give you a few options to take out your targets.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone there. It's the wide, and again, echoing your review, the wide open levels where you do have multiple access points, you do have things to explore, you do have cool little things tucked away in the corner. They stand out. When you're sort of like hemmed in, that's when it gets really, really quite janky. I do agree on the checkpoint stuff. Where the checkpoints are is absolutely moronic.
No pun intended. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, straight over my head. Like I said, I was playing it until like 1:30 this morning, so I'm a little.
They can work, but like again, I find that once I find them, I'm like, okay, no duh, they put them there. But it usually takes a few tries before kind of the different ways to flow through a level kind of are dawn on you, right? Yeah. And again, like the whole aspect of trial and error is like make the error fun, right? Like make it so that if something bad happens, if you blow your cover, you could do something interesting to kind of like,
And if you blow your cover, I mean that's a straight 1,000 points right off.
Right, and you're either
every time you discover, boom, boom, boom.
It comes down to like either a firefight that's not very fun, or in my opinion, like running away and kind of exploiting the sort of half their AI. That's what failure means in this.
But I think stealth games in general have just really lagged behind other genres in that regard. And the thing is that they have to devote time and processor power to the AI. And it seems like they never do. And it's like when this new generation of consoles came out, I remember we were probably on this show and we're like, what do we want to see? And I was like, I want to see them actually devote some resources to AI. I don't need ray tracing and all this other shit. Like, I want to experience a game where other humans react realistically and don't act like they're pre-programmed to do one thing. They're not binary.
Maybe the next gen will do that.
Well,
I'm starting to wonder.
We talked about this a little bit in stealth games before, where like, and going back to Metal Gear Solid, some guy sees you, you run away and hide, and after that, that timer counts down, they're not looking for you anymore.
Right.
And I feel like Batman is one of the few games, and I can't even really think of it in Arkham City, which was more of the open world. But when you were in the closed environments, if they saw you, they were in a constant agitated state from that point. But you were also kind of boxed in. So that was the kind of the caveat where they could get away with that. It's harder with these open worlds.
Really run away.
But it's harder in these open worlds, I think, to make something that's realistic but also fun.
Well, I think Assassin's Creed does something, in that regard. Like the main problem is that in this game, when the AI sees you, it's like just your only options are, in my opinion, not very fun. You either hide and exploit AI or like have a crappy firefight.
Right.
In Assassin's Creed, if you're caught, like you could like do some crazy free running, get in an interesting, at least like big sword fight. Same with Batman, right? Like if you get caught in Batman, you're in for like this crazy combo fest, right?
With gameplay that's engaging and fun and responsive.
Well, I'm glad you brought up Batman, because I got to say the hand-to-hand combat in Hitman, after the first couple of times of just watching the stylized and quick time.
It's no fun.
Once you get to like the third one of that, you're over it. And there is one level where you're wading through a bar in the middle of a bar fight. And every 90 seconds, some guy will swing a punch at you, and it's.
So you've gone to that part already.
Well, yeah, I told you where I am.
Okay.
So I'm beyond that part.
Okay.
So I mean, I have played a fair amount of the game. Not he knows exactly where I am. But yeah, I mean, the combat is dated. The hand-to-hand combat, it's crying out for Batman. It's crying out for that style, especially when it's 47.
That would have been kind of out of character, though, like to have him beating the shit out of a whole room. I mean,
but I mean, with regards to if somebody comes in and swings a punch, instead, having that flowing, so that section, especially when you have 3 or 4 guys coming at you.
There were better options in quick time events.
And as an assassin, he should be very good at hand-to-hand combat, because it's the only type of combat there is where there's not a whole lot of noise.
Right.
It's like he should be badass.
Well, he could do, you do have a variety of takedowns. Like if you get somebody unaware, you could like piano wire them, insta kill. You could like choke them out. There's a cool element in that when you're choking someone out, it takes a little while. It is kind of like its own little quasi quick time event where he's choking the person out. If you want to do it faster, you could like just break their neck and it happens quickly. But at the point of cost. So
How is the contracts mode?
The contracts mode is pretty.
That looked pretty cool.
It is, yeah. It's basically, I mean, just because I think I said in my review, it kind of like, it highlights the open-endedness of the game. You're kind of going in there and just, going into it with whatever tools you want. Like, unlike the regular game, you're able to select the weapons that you use, able to select the disguise, like, immediately from the get-go. And you're essentially just going in there, playing the single-player levels, and doing hits that you're essentially challenging the community to go and match and do better than you.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, when you're playing through that, you see elements of levels that you hadn't considered, like enemies that were just kind of like, basically AI obstacles in the regular game are kind of, are occupying more interesting places in the levels when you're going through it in contracts, because you're trying to find a way, okay, how am I going to get to this guy who is like huddled in this particular spot, because I think it would be an interesting challenge for somebody else. So yeah, it encourages you to engage the game in that way, which I wish that the single player campaign had more of.
Right.
So I'm going to throw something out, totally random. Despite everything, I actually enjoyed playing Hitman last night. I was having fun, but I think it's because, and I know you said maybe I'm playing it the way they want me to play it. I don't think I am.
Yeah.
I mean, especially in the levels where it's like, all right, shotgun time. I'm just going to kill everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, all you guys. And that, to me, was actually some of the most fun. Maybe it's because I didn't really enjoy the previous Hitman games, because perhaps I felt they were really, really rigid. And this one has the framework, but perhaps it does let you mess around a little bit more than it should. But I'm actually enjoying wandering around. I want to get to the end of the story, because there is an arms dealer with and I have a bullet with his name on it.
You want me to tell you what happens?
No, don't you dare! This is going to be my Thanksgiving treat: turkey and baldy guy killing people.
Yeah, I mean, look, I could see why somebody would enjoy this, right? Like,
but again, the caveat is I also didn't pay for the game. I got sent a copy by Square Enix, which I'm very grateful for. If I'd have spent $60 on the game, I might have been a little bit.
Would you spend $60 on this game?
I don't know. I mean, I did spend $60 on 2K and Lynch games. and I got kind of burnt. And I did spend $60 I think, on, was it Bloodlines?
Yeah.
And I really did enjoy it. But perhaps I'm enjoying this one because I did get it, without paying for it, which is fantastic, for me. But perhaps it's a rental. Rent it and try it off Netflix and try it.
I mean, that's pretty much what you're saying,
Not
Miguel,
Netflix,
right?
I mean,
It's kind of a polarizing game. There are some fans of the franchise out there. Would you recommend they at least rent it?
I mean, if the reaction that I've noted from fans that I like is any indication, I think they would be even more disappointed because this is, well, if you're a fan who wants it to be sort of open-ended in the way that Blood Money is, you probably won't be, you probably won't like this. I mean, I don't know. Again, like I said, it's a stealth game where it's only fun when you're doing it right.
Yeah.
When things get botched, it just kind of becomes unfun
Falls
and kind
apart.
of clunky. I recommend it with very heavy reservations.
I've got to tell you, I haven't really enjoyed a stealth game in a really long time, and I don't consider games like Assassin's Creed or
You played
Batman
Dishonored?
really stealth games, but
Have you played Dishonored
I have
yet?
not played Dishonored
Okay.
yet. And that's my list of Thanksgiving games to get through for our Game of the Year awards. But I don't like them because of what you're saying. Like, ever since really Metal Gear Solid 3 for me is where at first I kind of gave that stuff a pass. I'm like, oh, the technology's not there. Once they had made games for like the PS2 and the Xbox, like once the processing power was there to make it possible that enemies could react intelligently, and they weren't, that's when I really lost a lot of love for it. After like the second Splinter Cell.
Yeah. You see,
I gotta say, I have had more fun with this than the last couple of Splinter Cells.
Yeah.
But I think it's because it is amped up, and I mean, the bad guy's henchman is like 90 feet tall, and he looks like Machete on steroids, and there is that sort of like silly, it's almost Saints Row-esque.
There's a fun quick time event waiting for you with that guy.
I'm sure.
You're gonna love that.
Well, it's like Metal Gear Solid 4. Like, if they had not kind of put in the option to play that game like a more traditional action game, and I had to play it like the old Metal Gears, I don't even know if I'd have made it through the game. I mean, there's obviously lots of cool stuff in Metal Gear games, and I enjoy experiencing that stuff, but if I really had to sneak around that entire
Chapter
game...
3?
Right. Like, I wouldn't have finished the game.
You see,
so.
like, they could make pure sneaking games that are fun. Like, I think Mark of the Ninja was an excellent
It
example.
was, yeah.
That was a kind of game where, just like this, if I would get caught, I would restart it. But I didn't mind it in that case because, for, a bunch of different reasons, right?
Yeah.
Like, it wouldn't set you back as far, and, like, getting through different sequences several times, in succession was still entertaining and still interesting and still amenable to different approaches.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there could be a pure sneaking game that is fun. I just don't think this is it.
Too many good games out there right now to recommend somebody buy this. Safe to say?
Yeah.
Definitely rent it though.
Yeah.
Rent it and don't play it like it's meant to be played.
You know what?
You might have the best fun.
It's your money, man. It's your money.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Rent it. I mean, rent it if you got a game subscription. I mean, that's honestly, perhaps that's why I am enjoying it. Is that I am just going absolutely floopy and collecting all the weapons and collecting all the disguises and just dicking around.
All right, so it's that time of the year, our annual Turkey Awards, where each one of us picks one turkey from the gaming industry, kind of calling somebody out for things that they've done over the year or things that didn't quite work out the way they had planned. Marcus, what is your turkey for 2012?
My turkey is Mass Effect 3. I'm so butthurt over that. I'm a butthurt fanboy. I'm sorry. I love the first two so much, and the second one in particular. I feel let down by it still, and I should get over it, but I can't. I don't feel I've had really proper closure with my Shepard character, and the fact that it got nominated for a VGA Best of Year award fucking stuns me.
Well, it's
Really
still
does.
the highest rated game on Metacritic this year
Yeah,
by
well,
quite a margin.
How
in
about
fact.
Persona 4 re-release and beta?
Yeah.
Re-release.
It's the highest rated new game that came out this year on Metacritic by a pretty good distance, so still fair enough. What about you, Mike, your turkey?
It's gonna have to be this Capcom in general. Specifically, I mean, I was so hyped for Resident Evil 6. Like, just as a person who played the series and stuff, and the game, probably my fault. I built.
But you hadn't, right? You hadn't played the early ones, the early Resident Evil.
No, I mean, going off what I had played before, RE4, RE5,
Right.
what had built up on that, and this game was falling in line with those games. seeing what RE6 was, like those trailers, I realized they do really good trailers. They do a good job at that. It was my fault that I probably built stuff in my mind that like I expected the game to be, and then when I actually played it, it just didn't live up to those expectations. And then there were other things in there that I found like I'm starting to rethink if I really want the series to go in this direction that they're taking it now. And then just in general, like Capcom, some of the decisions they've done, like, I mean, personal level, like the Pop Fiction episode, like the whole Mega Man 9 thing that they won't speak out on that. Just a lot of the stuff Capcom's done this year, I don't think has been a great year for Capcom. RE6 probably get sold decently, I think. Not as nearly as well as RE5, but they'll probably make their money off that. But a lot of their games that came out this year, I think they got to rethink going forward what they're going to do with their strategy. And
not a lot of excitement from Capcom this year in general, really. I mean,
yeah,
Dragon's Dogma.
like their biggest thing they're pointing to
Which
is
kind of a sleeper hit.
Yeah, Dragon's Dogma, and then Remember Me, which they're like pushing as the next big thing. And
Looks cool. But
looks cool, but who knows with them? And just feels
I mean,
like
what was Capcom's best game this year? I mean, it probably was Resident Evil 6.
or Dragon's Dogma.
yeah. It's a toss-up depending
Maybe
on
one
what
of
you
their
say.
mobile games.
But yeah,
I mean, Street Fighter Cross Tekken, that was this
that was
year, and
they had the whole
that
Cross
this year?
Assault.
I believe so.
Yeah, it was earlier this
Okay.
year,
Yeah.
and that was
There's no seasons.
They had the reality show that kind of went bad
right.
on them. There's just been a rough year for them, and I think they need to maybe sit down and like figure things out. Like this year, it felt like the death of Mega Man. Like everything coming out of their mouths is like.
Well, I think you're
we don't
hearing a
know.
lot of internal strife at Capcom right now, too. Some of the developers have kind of spoken out in 2012, and it sounds like things just generally aren't happy in Capcom land right now.
Yeah, we'll see what they do to turn it around if they can.
They could be worse. They could be EA.
Well, EA's doing okay. It's just their stockholders are bailing on them. But financially, they're actually doing all right.
They're selling, the old faithful, but yes, they've had a few missteps this year, and they were probably runners up for my turkey.
Ryan, what's your turkey?
To pick on more publishers and Microsoft, and for them, it's just how they're really retreating the market with. I mean, this is way more of a personal thing, but just the way that they kind of withdrew from big events and they're a fucking create hardware.
Yeah.
Little disheartening. No whispers of new hardware, or the faintest of whispers. I mean, no TGS, no Gamescom. I hear they're not at CES now, even as a corporation, not just their Xbox department. Just how they're handling, like, even some of their trailers being released and stuff like that. Like, don't get me wrong, I loved Halo 4, but good. That's more, good for 343. But Microsoft in general just
Well, they send us these emails.
Becoming
like,
a weird-
Hey, here's this new trailer for Halo 4, but you're not allowed to post it. It's like embedded from our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, that's a lot of-
We're not embedding it from your frickin' YouTube channel.
That's
This is
a lot
how we
of corporations,
Stay in
but-
business. Like, sorry, dude.
Yeah, just them more than anyone else, since they are kind of a, they're huge. They make hardware. Just a disappointing big turkey.
Yeah, I mean, my turkey this year specifically is Nintendo, but honestly, I could hand it to any of the platform holders because right now, they're killing the industry. Nintendo in particular, with the whole 3DS launch, and then they're like, oh, we're going to cut the price, and here's like 4 free games for people who bought it early, who, because they bought the 3DS early, they should know, don't even want those games or have them for 5 times over. How about you give us a discount on the XL when it comes out? Or create some kind of a trade-in offer.
Or release more quality games.
Right. How about the fact that they had completely abandoned the Wii this year? There was, 1 game of note the entire freaking year? Like,
maybe 2.
maybe 2?
Yeah.
I mean, look, and then they kind of botched the whole launch. How many systems do you know that has a 5 gig update the day it comes out? 10 years ago, you wouldn't have been able to update it.
Let's see what happens in 12 months when we do have Xbox 720 or whatever, and we're talking about that. So, I mean, I think Nintendo, I rag on them all the time, but I mean, they are the first ones of this big permanently online generation. Xbox 360 and PS3, they were kind of like just coming in, and were sort of like the first ones.
Well, there was
maybe.
Xbox Live on the
I know there was
original
there
Xbox.
was Xbox Live, but I mean, this is the first time in this sort of like almost new environment of everybody bitching it instantaneously on Twitter and Facebook, and everybody being connected. In 2005, my parents didn't have DSL, and a lot of people I know were still on dial-up. I mean, in certain areas. So I mean, I think Nintendo perhaps getting the rough end of the stick, a little bit. Let's see how it goes in 12 months, and God knows I'm not defending them.
But it's a
I
huge
think they've
jump
been
because
archaic in a lot of stuff they've done.
with the Wii, it survived alongside the 360 and the PlayStation 3. You didn't have to update games the day you bought them. You bought that game. That disc was good. Like, the quality was good.
Well, the quality of the actual disc was good. The quality of the game is up for discussion.
I mean, Zelda had that one fatal bug that they ended up fixing, like, in a roundabout way, but 99.9% of the games that came out for the Wii, what shipped on that disc was final, and it was good, and it wasn't broken. And so it's sad for me to see Nintendo, now that it's jumping up to speed with everybody else, being one of the worst offenders in abusing the fact that you can update with things like that. So I'm not happy about that, but also, I just feel like Microsoft and Sony holding back their new machines, it's killing everybody. It's killing them. I mean, sales are down 30% year over year. Interest in the industry right now is probably at the lowest point that it's been in since like the early to mid 90s. I mean,
if we go back 12,
think about it.
It's
if we go
shifting to
back
the
January
tablets
of
of
this
the-
year, I said thank God for third party.
Yeah.
And because third party have delivered.
That's the other part too. Microsoft has stopped making exclusive games for the Xbox. Like Sony is, and Nintendo still are doing it, but Microsoft has pretty much bailed on that whole.
Microsoft bailed on the Xbox just like Nintendo bailed on the Wii.
Yeah.
I mean, Microsoft
Stopped
knew this
supporting it at
as
the end.
connect, bundles, get it out, kids, waving arms, Star Wars seizures. That's what they want, and then next year they'll be knocking on our door again, saying, "Now we have the 720, and it's going to do this, and it'll be pretty and photorealistic and always on, and now please love us." And unfortunately, like the abused
I'm getting
spouses
depressed.
that we are, we will be back for more.
Well, the way I see it, it's a lot like the NHL lockout that's going on right now. You have these billionaire owners and these multi-millionaire players who can't come to an agreement on how to split $2 billion. They're not thinking about the people who sell the hot dogs at the arena, the guy who opened his store next to the arena because he knows there's a lot of foot traffic there and is paying crazy rent to be there. All the people who work in the park, I mean, literally tens of thousands of people who rely on whatever this is to make a living. And it's people like us, people like video game editors and video game websites. It's really tough out there right now. Traffic is low because there's not a lot of interest in what's going on. And so I feel like there's a greed factor going on there. I hope to God the next generation doesn't last this long. Anecdotally, I used to get questions from just random people in my life a lot about what are the hot games coming out. Like, that is completely almost fallen off a cliff. And I haven't got any calls from people back east this holiday season saying, what should I buy? Like, I got a couple people hit me on Facebook, like, what's up with the Wii U? But typically this time of year, I'm getting text messages, Facebook, whatever, all day, every day, from people saying, what should I buy? No one cares anymore. Like, everybody knows what the games are going to look like. All the franchises are getting recycled. They know what the games are going to be. Like, this industry needs a shot in the arm, and right now, the people who can do it are the platform holders, and they're not doing it. So that's my turkey. Now let's flip the script and cheer Ryan up. And let's give thanks to at least one thing from this year in video games. Marcus.
I'm going to give thanks for the console manufacturers totally screwing the pooch, allowing PC games to really have a friggin' banner year.
Yeah.
Because almost every title that's been released on the PC so far has been absolutely stonking when it's a port. I'm thinking about Borderlands 2, I'm thinking about Sleeping Dogs, Assassin's Creed is coming out, and then Steam has had a really good year. There's been a lot of really good stuff coming, and it has also breathed life into the indie developers. We're looking at 2 games on the VGA list this year that are downloadable games, and I think that next year and the year after we'll be back into we have to spend $500 billion on a game to make $500 billion in one, and I'm hoping that indies and PC games and Steam and all the good old games we continue to have that, because that's where most of my fun has been this year. Screw the consoles, fuck the future.
Mike, what do you give thanks for?
I'm gonna riff off that a little bit, like kind of like the underdogs, like FTL.
Oh, God.
Like, just hearing about the game and then playing it, like I won't. If that was yours, I won't steal it. Like games like that,
It's
like
only part of
indie
mine.
games this year, like a lot of the Western developed Western games, kind of like didn't live up to my expectations this year. This is a year I really tried to give them like a chance because I get accused too much of like being too like into Japanese games. I'm like, no, I'm gonna embrace these games. Like there are games I like, and there were ones I did like, but like it seemed like the indie games were the ones that I gravitated most this year, and I found like
look at the VGAs. I mean, Journey, I don't know if you would call that an indie game, but Journey, a downloadable game, is one of the finalists for Game of the Year at the VGAs.
Dead. And and that's one I gotta still play. And then along with that, like underdogs, like the Operation Rainfall movement, like getting Xenoblade here and getting Last Story, even though that one didn't quite live up to my expectations, but still was a pretty good game. Like just getting Xenoblade over here, like I did not think that was going to happen. And Last Story did not think that had a prayer either. And the fact that someone even wanted to bring those out, and that even though they didn't sell as probably like millions of copies, the fact that they just got to get out here and the people who wanted to play them got to play them. Like,
well, Xenoblade has a really good shot at RPG of the Year. I mean, so many people are salty like Marcus over what happened with Mass Effect 3, even though it scored really high. It might be interesting to see if some people are like, you know what? This might be the better RPG.
Oh yeah, have me in that discussion. We'll see what happens. But yeah, just having those come out and like having these like kind of underdog things actually succeed this year was like in the face of like these bigger games not like saving the industry, like as what you've been saying, like it's kind of been falling. Maybe these are the new types of games that we need to be focusing on more, and maybe they will be the ones that'll carry us until the launch of those games. We need more of those.
And let's just go back to Nintendo and say, well done to them on the way they are supporting the indies. They're letting them set their own prices, and they're letting them set their own sales. So fair fucks to Nintendo, because I can't see Microsoft or Sony doing that because they're too fucking greedy. Right. So please record this. Well done, Nintendo. Never happen again.
Ryan, what are you giving thanks for this year?
I'm going to go a little more granular, and it is FTL and Spelunky in particular, and just I love roguelike games. I love being a little @ symbol walking around a dungeon, but I like those fundamental building blocks of roguelike games, and I'm glad to see them blossoming out into platformers, space simulator, combat things, and just to go and just say that I cannot believe how many hours I've put into FTL, and it is what a tremendous game made by mainly two dudes. Yeah. And honestly, I'm a little apprehensive for some Kickstarter stuff, especially the more ambitious Kickstarter projects, but some of these smaller ones. Also finally got around to playing Grimrock, which was way better than I expected. We had an intern do the capture. We had a freelancer review it. Finally got around to Grimrock, and some of these games that are coming out of the Kickstarter movement, the smaller ones, are fantastic, and I'm just glad that they exist. So I'm thankful for that.
I'm going to give thanks to 2K Games for 2012. 2K Games has had an amazing year, and what I like about them is that they're taking some risks here and there as well, but the overall level of quality across their games has been amazing. Spec Ops: The Line even has its fans out there. It did some unique things. They put some marketing muscle behind it. Borderlands 2, XCOM, which to me in this day and age is pretty brave to put that kind of money behind a game like XCOM. We knew what XCOM was. A lot of people probably don't and probably still don't.
It's done very well on Steam. I think they've more than made their money back, which is great.
And I mean, look, I've been an evangelist for that game here on the show for a couple months, but seriously, go out and buy the game. I know you may look at it and think, oh, I don't know, it may not be for me. Everybody in this office loves XCOM. Even random people who just work as our tech designers and things like that would have come to me like, what do you think about XCOM? And I'm like, I love it. And they're like, I love it too. And I never thought I would. So
somebody made the analogy to me actually last week that XCOM is almost like a sports sim without sports stars, a sports management sim.
Yeah, it is. That's a good way to put it.
So if you like the stat management stuff, that's a great in for you. It's just in a sci-fi environment.
Don't play the demo, though. The demo's not the most representative thing.
But who would have thought that this year that Max Payne 3 would be one of the worst games that 2K put out this year? I mean, you start talking about NBA 2K13, another great game. BioShock Infinite right around the corner.
Darkness 2, maybe a little
that
wrapped in
game
there.
Still was.
It's fun.
It has a lot of fans. It has a lot of fans.
It's fun.
But yeah, next year they've got a kick-ass first 3 months.
They do. So to me, I feel like 2K Games had a great 2012. We actually went to their offices early in the year to have kind of like a little meeting with them where they're going to talk about their new ideologies and how they're going to handle their business. And we've done this before, and then it ends up being a big pile of crap. Well, I actually saw 2K Games put it into practice and practice what they preach. So big year for 2K Games. For you, I give thanks. All right, that does it, everyone. I hope everybody is having a great Thanksgiving holiday. I know I'm going to fill up on some turkey. We recorded this on Monday. By Friday, I will probably be passed out on the couch from football and tryptophan. But Ryan does have one thing he wants to mention before we go.
Yeah, so we had Ian Dallas come over. He was the creative director on Unfinished Swan, and we did something a little different, a little kind of a longer form post-mortem, and it should be up over the Thanksgiving break, so I'd like if you guys could check it out and give some feedback.
Yep. So like I said, everybody travel safe. Hope you get to see your families. I know one thing I can say is that we are all very thankful for you, the people who watch the show every week, the people who support GameTrailers in general. Without you, we would not have the jobs that we have. So thank you very, very much for supporting us throughout 2012. Everybody have a great holiday. Be safe. Invisible Walls is up and out.
See this and other GT shows and game reviews on the GT Originals iOS app, available now on the App Store.